Big Z Reviews. John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum is the third film in the John Wick series, and it is still really good. This is again directed by Chad Stahelski and stars Keanu Reeves, and has a lot of the same characters. They throw in a couple new ones like Halle Berry, and it is really good. It's so tough to top themselves after all the crazy things they do, but they really did. They did a lot of interesting things, and they kept topping it, and I really enjoyed this.
Mr. Wick broke the rules. I trust you understand the repercussions if he survives.
John Wick, excommunicado, is now in effect.
So I'm a big fan of the first two John Wick films. I really think when I rewatched them the last time before I watched this one, the first John Wick is just such a tight film, and it's really kind of perfect. And the second one, they try to get more into like what this world is, maybe a little too much, but it still is full of excellent action. It's not quite as tight. And I think there's maybe like one too many of the straight up kind of gun battles, but there's also, they introduce more of this idea of, you have one or two people that are closer to John Wick's level that he has to fight out with, maybe in common in that one. And in this one, they kind of continue that idea with mainly Mark Dacascos as like his main adversary, but they also have two really good people from the Raid movies that they're his underlings, but there's really good fight with them in this. And there's a lot of great stuff. You also have, introduced Halle Berry, but she's more like he teams up with her for a couple of scenes, but she's not there for most of the movie. But I wouldn't mind seeing her in another movie if they're doing a spin-off or something. But there's a lot of story with her character that I can see them doing something with that, but we'll have to see. And in this one, it pretty much starts right off, right after the second movie where John Wick is incommunicado, and there's like a $20 million bounty on his head, and he has an hour to get out of there, and he has to get out of there to survive. And they do a lot of amazing stuff. I think it's funny when I think afterwards, I try to think about what my favorite fight of the movie was. It actually was closer to the beginning. Like they have this fight with a bunch of just kind of henchmen trying to kill him, where they're in an antique shop, and I've never seen anything quite like it, where they constantly just like breaking the display cases and like taking out knives and swords and stuff, and he's like throwing them at each other, and like it's just the setup and the stagecraft of that, the choreography is just so on point. I loved it. It's like amazing. It might be my favorite fight of the whole John Wick series. But I mean, there's full of other stuff too. There's like with Halle Berry, there's amazing work with dogs, and how much must have gone into that stunt work? Because I mean, especially for most of this, like a lot of this, they film a lot of it in camera. Like there's no really bad edits to hide stuff. So much of this is in camera, and then every once in a while they'll add some CGI to some stuff, and some stuff is obvious, like the horses kicking. And at one point John Wick uses horses as a weapon. They're in like a stable, and like he gets them to kick people and like break their necks, pretty much, or crush their heads. And I mean, obviously that is a little, you could tell, but other stuff, like it's tough to tell what's CGI and what's not, because they film so much of it in camera, and then they use CGI to amplify it. It kind of remind me of like Mad Max, Fury Road, because like most of that film was in camera, but they added CGI to make it even bigger. That I really like when they do that, because like, when it's completely in front of a green screen, sometimes it just kind of loses the reality of the actions. And this is so great. Like everything about it is amazing. Like I loved every little bit of it, and like there's so many different things you can talk about. It's so good. The only slightly weak part of the film is that the point where he has to go into the desert and try to find the head of the table or whatever, the head of this this secret society, and he gets like this mission to if he wants to be back in, he has to kill this person that he likes, and that's fine. But like then there's like then he kind of turns like, oh, I'm not going to do that. So it means that like that whole kind of thing was kind of slightly wasted. Like it didn't really matter. But at the same time, I like stuff they did. And I like to how different spins they put on it. Because like towards the end, it's not really a spoiler, but towards like the end, usually you're so often like the gun fu with him just blasting away everyone, and then at a certain point, like the people he has to fight, they have like special body armor, and they're really armored up, so he can't so he has to do special ways to actually get around to killing them, and it really kind of changes the game. Kind of it's different than all the other fights, and it really kind of works. I love everything they did with it. It's really such a good film, and I love that it did. Each time there's a third one now, it blowed the others out of the water and the box office. It shows that this is a really healthy franchise, and that they can definitely do more. I think they already greenlighted a fourth one, and that's great. But I really loved it. I give it like a 9.25 out of 10. It's an excellent film that I feel of action movies you have to see. But thanks for watching. Just got your place in my head and subscribe if you're not Z over there. Thanks. This has been a Big Z movie review. Thanks for watching.